it's Doris, and I wanted to go over how my reading has gone for these last 2 weeks. I haven't read all of these, but quite a few. I posted a video last week about this new phase I'm in where I like to read a lot of books at one time. I think it's going to be like a phase for a very long time. It just really works for me. I am discovering. So I posted my ideas about what I like to read all at the same time and different styles of literature that I like to read concurrently, and kind of a TBR for the 2 weeks, the 2 midweeks of January. And I wanted to go over how that went because today is starting Diversathon, so I'm going to be reading even more books. So anyway, I think I put my TBR video up yesterday, or I'm thinking to. Anyway, so I mentioned that I'm reading The Infinite Sea out loud with my son, who is 13, and we did 1 chapter of this in the 2-week period. Unfortunately, I'm just really having a hard time finding a rhythm of reading together, and I need to work on that. And thankfully this is a small book, so once we get it finished, I think I'm not going to do any more read alouds with him until our summer break when we have more free time together, if that makes sense. And then I mentioned that I like to have a slow read. This one was a nonfiction, and it is very much reading like a textbook, and I don't mind that at all. But the problem is when you get home from work in the evenings, when I get home from work in the evenings, I probably want some escapism, especially on the evenings that we have other things to do as a family or whatnot. So yeah, I did read the introduction and 2 chapters of this last weekend, and I think that I'll get a chapter done this weekend, but weeknights it's harder. So yeah. And then this one was supposed to be my audiobook. So I like to have a book in the car because I can usually get 40 minutes to an hour in on weekdays. Unfortunately, I've been going through this cycle with this particular book. There's like me and this other person who keeps rotating these Kristin Cashore novels. So I never got this back. It's probably going to come back like tomorrow. But anyway, I went ahead and read it since I had it from my high school library, and I kind of got to a point where I was really interested in the plot, so I went ahead and just read the book. After I finished my 2 quick reads, which I'll show you in a minute, I finished them, and then I kind of, while I was reading those 2 and the long novel, I kind of put this in the mix as well. I just like all those different storylines going on. You know, if I get bored with one, I pick another that I'm interested in. It's working for me. And then I've started Bitter Blue, which is the 3rd in the Graceling series. And this one I actually do have on audio, and I listened to it 2 days last week once I finished Fire. And then I've been reading a little bit as well. And I think that my audio subscription to this expires tomorrow, so I'm really hoping that whoever has been tag teaming me with it is not on this one so I can renew it. We'll see. I'm really hoping to be able to listen to this one in the car this week. Fingers crossed. So then my 2 fast reads that I was doing. First, I am Messenger and Hidden Figures. I loved both of these. They were just pretty darn awesome. This one is a nonfiction about women, and specifically black women in the space race and the contributions that they made. And it was fabulous. It was so fabulous. And I'm going to see the movie this afternoon, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to love the movie as well as the book. And I think they're going to be completely different. I mean, not completely different, but I know that the movie's going to be sped up and the storyline altered a bit and kind of blended just to make for the movie, if you know what I mean. But I'm okay with that because to me, books and movies are just different genres. But I think what I'm trying to say is that this is a story that everybody needs to read or watch. And this particular book, I don't think it matters in what order. Like, I don't think it matters if you see the movie first or if you read the book first, just because there's just so much more in this. And it is somewhat heavy on the sciences, but not really. It's more about the people and, you know, the accomplishments they made socially. I just love it. I'm just going to go on and on about it. But yeah, nonfiction that reads like a novel, and about midway through, I just started, you know, tearing up at every chapter just because of their accomplishments and the way that they were able to use their talents when in a society where they normally wouldn't have been able to. I don't know. I just totally loved that book. And then this one, I'm the Messenger by Marcus Zusak. This is the one that the English teacher at my high school wanted me to read because she wanted to talk about the ending. And what shall I say about this? It's very enjoyable, and it's very, like, almost little vignettes. It's just all these little storylines that he kind of blends, like stringing beads on a necklace, you know, all these different stories, and you're kind of trying to figure out what does it all mean and how does it all connect, and you never really figure that out. And you get to the end. I got to the end of the story, and if you've read The Book Thief, you know that the last line of that book is just so powerful. He's the king of the one-liner. So powerful. When I read The Book Thief, that last line just, I had to run out of the house because I was having ugly, gut-wrenching sobs, and I didn't want my kid to think, you know, there was something wrong with me. But this one is the same kind of thing, sort of. Oopsie. Sorry about that. But I got to the end and I read the last sentence and I was like, what did that mean? And I kept thinking and thinking and thinking. And 2 minutes later, I was like, wow. So it was like a delayed reaction, but I totally got it, and it was totally something else. Now, I will say that the ending, there's some parts of it that are clunky, and it sort of fits in with his idea of writing your own story, but it's still kind of clunky. But yeah, there's two really strong messages in here, and I don't want to go into detail about what they are because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's good. And I didn't mention, I really did enjoy Fire as well. If you've read Graceling, the main character in Graceling is, not the main character, but the main bad guy is really, I hate him. And this one talks about his younger life, and I didn't think I was going to like it, but it's really just the prologue that does that, and then it flips to two completely new characters, and I really, really enjoyed their story a lot. So once I finished these 3 quick books, I still had some time left in my 2-week time period, so I started Holding Up the Universe and Before I Fall, and I kind of didn't think that I was in the mood for these because they're both young adult romance, drama, teen drama kind of thing, and I wasn't in the mood for that. But I had started them both, and I just didn't want to do that whole set them aside and then they're lingering in the back of my mind that I didn't finish them. That just works on my consciousness for some reason. So I kind of kept reading them bit by bit, and then this one totally grabbed me. I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it because I thought it was going to be this story of people being mean to the girl, the main character. I'll go ahead and tell you, it's the girl was dubbed America's Fattest Teen, and actually had to be, her house a wall in her house knocked down and she had to be lifted out on a crane. And before the story starts, she kind of goes through the medical process of working on her weight and psychologically figuring out those problems. And then the romance is with a guy who's got, I'm going to say it wrong, prosopagnosia or something to that effect. It's not on the cover here, but it's the problem with your brain where you don't process faces, you don't recognize faces. So, and that's been done before. I read Bone Gap, I think last summer, and it was a similar idea. But I was just worried that I was just going to have to spend the book feeling bad for the way people were treating this girl, and I did not. She was so boss. I just loved her. It was one of those books where the more I read it, the more I appreciated who she was. So I would recommend this one if you're in the mood for a good teen romance. I mean, I don't know. If you don't read young adult ever, you're missing out. That's just what I'm saying. Now this one, the jury is still out. I'm still like, I've barely started it, and I'm still in that section where it's just all teen drama. They're going to parties and they're being mean to each other, and it's like an episode of like Pretty Little Liars, although I've never ever seen that show. So really I shouldn't say that. But yeah, I don't know. But I know, I mean, I think there's a movie coming out on this soon, but I know that the librarians highly recommend it. So my gut tells me that it's going to get good real soon. I just need to persevere. And if you're interested in knowing what it's about, it's something to the effect of the girl keeps dying over and over. And I think she's going to be able to see her life and change the person that she is. So I think it's going to really have deep values. But I just got to get there. So anyway, I finished 1, 3, 4. I finished 4 books in the last 2 weeks, and I'm started on these other ones, and the Versathon's starting today, so I get to start a new book. Yay, I'm so happy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will be back soon. Bye.